Hey guys, Joe Zamataro with PWC Muscle. Today we're going to show you how to take the top deck off of your Sea-Doo Spark. You don't have to do this too often, but it does make it a little bit more convenient for certain maintenance items. In our next video we're going to be installing an intake grate onto our Spark, which does require that top deck to come off. The first step is going to be removing the seat, the engine cover, and the knee pads from both sides. That'll give us access to our engine compartment. And from here we can disconnect the battery. We will be disconnecting these two wiring harnesses, which will allow us to separate the decks and the wiring harnesses from each other. Now we remove the steering cable from the steering column by removing this bolt. Our next step is removing the torque bolts that are holding on our steering cable. There's one below it as well. And these are going to take a Torx T27, which you can pick up at most hardware stores. All right, with our Torx head socket still being used, we can remove the 3 self-tapping bolts that are holding on the gas cover. All right, now we'll be removing all of the bolts from around the railing. One way to help yourself work a little bit smarter is to take a drill and use one of the socket adapters on it. That way when you go around it'll be that much quicker. There's 5 in the front, 8 in the rear, and then 10 along the sides. A lot of them to do, so we'll just show you doing one, and then the rest of them will be the same. Now on our side bolts, we actually have a nut underneath, which is 10 millimeter, that we can use to hold the bolt, and it'll come right off. When all the bolts are removed, there's only this trim piece left to slide out to the side, and then we can actually take off the top deck. Now with all the bolts removed, we have those trim pieces taken out, we're ready to remove the actual top deck. This is done a lot more easily with the assistance of a friend. Basically you'll just be picking it up and then sliding it forward a bit. The steering cable that goes through the hull here will be you have to slide it through as you lift it up. It's not difficult to do, just something to be aware of, and we'll show you how it goes. Okay, with our top deck off, you can see how much more room we have here in the engine compartment. Makes maintenance on certain things a lot easier for sure compared to the full fiberglass hulled skis. Another thing is in order to install an intake grate, you have to have the top deck off, which is what our next video will be. To reinstall the top deck, we'll do it pretty quick here, but it's basically the exact opposite of the removal. Alright, next we're going to install the rear support bolts so that we can get a little bit more of alignment. Then we'll end up going on the sides and then the bow and stern. For the rest of these bolts, the side ones are the ones you want to do first. Those get torqued to 3.5 Newton meters. And then you can go ahead and do the bow and stern bolts. Those will be 5.5 Newton meters. With all the deck bolts put in, we can now install the rest of our trim pieces. And finally, we can do our gas cap bolts and steering cable. Okay, now all we have left is to put our panels back on, and our top deck removal and reinstallation is complete. Makes it a lot easier to have somebody here to help you, especially when lifting. It is something that you can do by yourself. Again, just easier to have a friend. For more information on our PWC Muscle Spark 110 build series, you can visit us on pwcextreme.com. Thanks again to Tampa Bay Power Sports for making this happen. All the parts that we're installing in the video series can be found on PWC Muscle. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us, phone, email, or on our forums. Thanks again for watching. As always, ride fast, ride safe, and we'll see you on the water.